Hello, everybody. Welcome to our short-term rental meeting for 2025. This meeting will be recorded, so if you need to reference it, it will be available on our short-term rental website. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes in case there's anyone who's having issues logging on or anything, technical difficulties. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Lexi. I am the Planning and Building Operations Manager for Clear Creek County. I also have on here with me Dakota Sherry. He's our Code Enforcement Officer and Short-Term Rental Specialist. And then I also have David Danielson. He's our Chief Building Official, also on the call with me. So there are definitely quite a few of us here for sure. I am here toggling a little bit with some of the settings. So this meeting is going to be for anyone in Clear Creek County who manages a short-term rental or who owns a short-term rental. If your short-term rental is expiring at the end of this year, that would be at the end of 2024, you need to renew your permit next year. If your permit expires at the end of 2025, this is only applicable to a small few amount of people who are primary resident 2-year permit holders that were issued at the beginning of 2024. You do not have to renew your permit this year. There are very few of you, but if you are on this call, please feel free to listen in, but you do not have to do anything this year. If your permit is set to expire at the end of this year, this is for you. If you've paid for your permit to renew your permit next year, but it hasn't been approved yet, all you did was pay MuniRevs, this meeting is for you. If you haven't done anything to renew your permit for next year and you've just been sitting tight, this meeting is for you. A lot of changes have been happening here at Clear Creek County. We have been working on doing a whole restructure and organization of our short-term rental regulations and fee schedule. In order to aid us doing that, we've been taking public comment, and we've also been going and getting different types of data that we can find from other counties and from our own county to make decisions with our Board of County Commissioners, our directors, and our direct reports on what our fee schedule should be, how we align with the other counties around us, and how is this going to impact you as short-term rental homeowners? And then how does it impact your neighbors who might be full-time residents? We took all of this feedback into consideration, And trust me, these opinions varied greatly from full-time residents to short-term rental owners. And we took everyone's opinions very, very seriously. The Clear Creek Public Forum had tons and tons of feedback, which we really appreciated. That helped us guide us to finding where you guys want it to end up and be as a community. And this is where our Board of County Commissioners landed. On December 9th, our Board of County Commissioners adopted a fee schedule. A lot of this new fee schedule was based on what surrounding counties were doing, as well as the new data that we found with new compliance software that the county purchased back in August. This compliance software not only allows us to go and identify any platforms or private websites in which short-term rentals are being listed, but also automatically allows us to identify anyone who doesn't have a license or is taking advantage of their license by advertising outside of the parameters of the license we permitted them to. It will identify them and it'll give us their information. And then our code enforcement, Dakota, will go ahead and he'll go and reach out to someone, whether that's changing the occupancy on a listing or having a platform take a listing down because someone doesn't have a license. And that's not fair to those of you who do have a license. So that is one thing that this new compliance software helps us do. The other thing that this compliance software helped us do is identify how many nights in our county are short-term rented and what these nights are going for and what the price points are at. And taking all of this information, we were able to create this fee schedule that was adopted on December 9th. This fee schedule is very specific to your property, and the license fees that you are going to pay based on this fee schedule are specific to your occupancy. If you are a primary resident permit holder, you're going to pay $500 if you have 4 occupants. If you have a 3-bedroom house, you have 6 occupants, you'll pay an additional $200 per occupant over 4 occupants. So in this case, 6 minus 4 is 2. 2 times 200 is 400. 400 plus 500 equals 900. This is your license fee now. If you are a standard short-term rental permit holder, which is an absentee permit holder, your fee is $1,000 for those 4 occupants and $200 per additional occupant. I've gotten a lot of phone calls today, and I wanted to lay this one out right at the beginning because this is one of the most popular phone calls that I've gotten. And if I didn't get back to your phone call today, I promise it's because I was on the phone with someone else who's probably in this room right now. But I want to get that out of the way, that is how to analyze your fee schedule. That is how it applies to you. That's how you figure out what your license fee is going to be. Now, that is not the only fee that you're going to be paying. We also have a document review fee. You'll be paying that annually as part of your renewal, in which you'll be submitting your documents. Maybe they've changed. Maybe you're going to submit the same ones. That's up to you. But when you submit your documents to us, you're going to pay that document review fee every single year. You're also going to pay a registration fee. The registration fee is only due one time at the beginning when you initially register. So that is applicable to all of you upon registration. When you apply, you'll be paying your document review fee and your registration fee, $200 and $500. That equals $700 total. If you are one of these people who have paid on MuniRevs already, your payment is applied to your license fee, not your registration fee, not your document review fee. You still have to pay that at time of application. Anything that you've paid through MuniRevs will be credited to you, to your license fee, after you've received your short-term rental safety inspection. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, so that everyone kind of knows, I will talk about Ordinance 19 and changes to Ordinance 19. This was adopted yesterday, December 17th. There are some changes that are minute, and there are others that are applicable to a majority of you. I want to clarify that all short-term rentals are consecutive, less than 30 days. This is in our new ordinance. This doesn't vary from our old regulation. So I want to clarify that right now. The first change I want to bring to everyone's attention is section 2.6A. All short-term rental licenses shall expire 1 year from the date the initial license was issued. Right now, you all have from today, December 18th, until January 31st, 2025, to apply for your license. You don't have to race each other. You are all good to go as long as you apply by January 31st, 2025. Enjoy your holiday, gather your documents, and then when you're ready, go ahead and apply. Once you apply, we will receive your documents and we will review them. Once we approve those documents, you will be allowed to schedule your short-term rental safety inspection. You have 90 days from when you apply to schedule this inspection. This includes your revision time. So if you submit us documents and they need to be revised because they don't meet the requirements of this ordinance that I'm going over tonight, unfortunately, we're going to ask you to revise them and send them back to us. Your 90 days is still going. Okay, so please try to submit us concrete documents when you apply. If you apply January 26th, you have 90 days from January 26th to make sure that your application is complete and accurate and approved, which it should be because most of you already have a permit, so I'm hoping that it is. Then you can schedule your short-term rental safety inspection. Some of you may need this time to make adjustments to your property to be able to pass the short-term rental safety inspection based on this ordinance. So please review what is required on the checklist. It is updated. It is on our website. It is on the short-term rental website. Please review that and make sure you meet all of those requirements and then schedule your inspection. After your inspection, we'll ask you to pay your license fee. This is where if you have a credit, you're going to see that credit applied. This is where we're going to find out from the building inspector, based on the building inspector, what your occupancy is going to be. In most cases, your occupancy is going to be 2 people per bedroom. That is what the inspector is going to approve. If you are on central sanitation, maybe you're on St. Mary's sanitation, for example, you have the ability to prove to the building department and our building inspector that you can accommodate 2 additional people. If the building inspector approves this request, you may have an additional 2 people. That is at the building inspector's discretion, but when you apply, please note how many occupants you intend to have so that we know what to anticipate for your inspection. Whatever our building inspector says your occupancy is going to be is what our compliance software is going to know your occupancy is going to be. And it will be scanning all of your private websites and then all of the platforms that you're on, and it'll be making sure that your occupancy matches. So it is up to you to make sure when you get your permit that your listing matches the occupancy on your permit, which is what our building inspector approved. We're going to issue you this permit, and this is where section 2.6A comes in. You now have 1 year from when we issue that permit that your permit is active. So this is a change. You're not expiring at the end of 2025. If you get your permit issued on February 24th of 2025, it expires February 24th of 2026. This is a big change, but what this is going to do is kind of spread everyone out so that you're not all renewing around Christmas and New Year's, which I know I would appreciate, and I'm hoping you guys appreciate as well, not having to do this during the holiday season or right at the beginning of December. So section 2.6A, all STR licenses shall expire 1 year from the date the initial license was issued. You have no less, you need to apply no less than 30 days prior to the expiration of your permit. That means that if your permit expires February 24th, you need to apply before January 24th. That gives us an opportunity to review your documents again, make sure that there haven't been any changes, you to complete your building safety inspection again, which is annual now. That is another change, which I will go over here. And then we can activate your permit for the next year. So that kind of gives you a timeline of when your permit is going to need to be applied to be renewed next year. If you have any type of open building permits or anything like that, any remodel permits, anything of that nature, you may not have any rentals until the permit receives all of the approvals from the county. So please make note of that. That is section 2.6D in the new ordinance. Some of you I know do have open building permits. We do encourage you to please try to close those out if possible. If you're not sure, please reach out to us, send us an email, and we'd be happy to let you know if there are any open or expired building permits on your property. We would love to let you know so that you can get those taken care of, especially if you're a new property owner and you haven't done this yet. We really appreciate if you would. Now, section 2.7. Ownership of a license may not be transferred. We do have exceptions to this. This is a new thing. This means that if you sell your property, your license does not go with your property anymore. It is out to the next person. It doesn't matter if it's a residential permit. It doesn't matter if it's an absentee permit. It doesn't matter. You lose the transfer of the permit. I do encourage you, if there are any of you out there that are saying, well, what if? Well, what if? Well, what if? Yes, there are so many what ifs. And we have outlined all of those exceptions in our regulations. So please, after this meeting, take some time to go over all of those different exceptions. There's everything from transferring the title to different family members that are your primary family members. If someone's deceased, transferring the permit with the property and things like that. So please take a look at these. And then if you have any questions, pop them in the Q&A that is in this meeting if you have any right now, or email us after. Every license will be in that person's name. This is section 2.8. The property owner of the short-term rental property shall be the holder of the short-term rental license. If you are a property manager on this call, that is awesome. You're more than welcome to apply for the license, but the license is going to be in the owner's name, not your company's name or anything of that nature. Now, if the owner of the property is an LLC, that is fine. It needs to be, though, in that name. The county does have a landowner authorization requirement. This requirement is applicable to any property that is not in a person's name or anyone who's applying on behalf of someone else. If you are a property manager, you are more than welcome to apply on behalf of the owner. That is totally okay. However, you need to have a landowner authorization form that states that the owner is giving you permission to apply for the short-term rental application on behalf of that owner. The person that is signing that landowner authorization has to have a majority interest in that property. So if you are an LLC or anything of that nature, please make sure of that. The form, if you're curious, can be found on the application. When you go to apply, just answer the questions. It'll let you know if you need to fill out the form or not. Everything is automatic on the application, so just answer the questions and it'll let you know. If you need to fill it out, it'll give you a little link and you can print it out. You need to notarize this form. The county offers free notary services of this form. If you don't live here or something, any government building, library, a lot of times a post office, a bank has notary services. They can notarize it for you as well, but you do have to notarize it before you submit it back to us. Please do not submit it back to us without the seal, because we're going to tell you we can't take it. Give me one moment. It looks like there are some people trying to join. One moment, everyone. If you're not looking at the short-term rental regulation new ordinance, please take this moment to navigate to this ordinance. It is available on our Clear Creek County forum, and check it out. Take a look at those exceptions if you're curious. I am at section 2.8. So that's if you're trying to follow along where we've gotten to. Okie doke. There we go. Looks like some more people are jumping in here. Hi, welcome if you're just getting here. Thanks for joining us. Sorry about that wait. If you are just joining us, we have made it to section 2.8 of the short-term rental ordinance number 19 that was adopted yesterday, and we have gone over the fee schedule that was adopted on December 9th. You can reference those documents on our website or on my email that I sent you. You can also reference those on the Clear Creek County Forum. Great. So I'm going to continue on. So another change that we're making, license types. You either all have a primary resident permit or an absentee permit right now. When you renew, you will now have a standard license, a primary resident occupied license, or a primary resident seasonal license. These are 3 different types of licenses, and I want to be very clear about what each type of license is. The standard license is what you're thinking an absentee license is. There's still a 4.5% cap. We still check what it is on October 1st of every year to see if there are any additional permits that we can issue. We still have a wait list. If you're on the wait list, you're in the same place. If you're not on the wait list and you have an active permit, you're guaranteed your permit until January 31st. Make sure to apply by January 31st. Now the primary resident permits. Our first type of permit we have is an occupied license. So this license is if you live in your house. You have a 2-bedroom house and you only use 1 bedroom. You want to rent that other bedroom out. Great. This is an occupied license. This means that you are going to submit us a floor plan and say, hey, I live in this bedroom and I'm renting out this bedroom full-time year-round. You can rent it out as many days as you want because you live there and you're a primary resident. Then we have another type of permit. This permit is the seasonal STR license now. So it used to be a primary resident permit. Now it's a seasonal STR license that is only available to primary residents. This means that you can only rent out your property 120 days maximum every year, but you don't have to be there. You don't have to submit us a floor plan that says, I live in this room and I'm renting out that room. But you can only rent it out a maximum of 120 days a year. Because in order to be a resident in Clear Creek County, you need to live here full time 9 months of the year. So if you want to snowbird to Florida for 3 months and rent your house out while you snowbird, that's great. That's fine. This is your permit. This is for you. If you live in your house and you want to rent out the other bedroom because you're a primary resident and you live here, then you are an occupied STR license. So seasonal is like I'm snowbirding or I ski here and 3 months in the summer I go snorkel in Hawaii. Great. That's seasonal STR license. You still have to prove that you live here, that this is your primary residence. Hawaii can't be your residence. Florida can't be your residence. You have to live here. But we'll go ahead and we'll allow you to rent out your house a maximum of 120 days for the seasonal STR license. When you apply, you're going to select which one of these you're asking for. When you select which one you're asking for, it will tell you what we need from you. So if you select primary resident seasonal, it'll ask you, hey, I need you to submit your motor vehicle registration. I need you to submit in your license that is not expired, that has that address on it. I need you to submit a tax document or a pay stub that shows this is my address. Is that a W-2? Is that a 1041? What does that look like? That is up to you. We have options for all of these, but we do need you to submit additional documentation to prove that this is your primary residence. So I just want to reiterate, again, moving on to section 3.4 occupancy standards. Maximum occupancy of 2 bedrooms per bedroom. Section B, every sleeping room, 2 occupants. It doesn't matter if you have 2 sets of bunk beds in there. No, 2 occupants per room. And then if you're on central sanitation, you have the option to ask us if we'll allow you to have an additional 2 occupants over your bedroom times 2 occupants. I'm going to move on to section 5 because there are not a lot of changes to section 4 that are super notable. There are some changes, but please reference those on your own. It goes over what the cap is, which has not changed. We did not change the cap. It's still 4.5%, which is what it was before. That hasn't changed. We still have the waiting list. That also hasn't changed, section C. And there is still section 4.2. There's still no limit on the number of primary resident short-term rental licenses. So none of that has really notably changed. So I'm going to move on to section 5 about the responsible agent. So the responsible agent, this is your 24-hour contact. This is your manager. This is the person that's going to take care of your property. Might be you, might be someone else. This person needs to be available 24/7, holidays, when people are renting your property. You get the gist. You understand. They need to respond within an hour. If they don't respond within an hour, then we can investigate why they don't respond within an hour and take further action. Now, what does responding in an hour look like? Maybe it's not you personally going to the property, but you getting a certified technician to go to the property to assess some kind of situation. Maybe it is you going to the property and cleaning up some kind of mess that was created, or you correcting the snow plowing storage. Whatever the situation is, you just have to respond within 1 hour. We'd also require you to have your responsible agent, whether that's you as the homeowner, your manager, whoever that is, your neighbor, whoever, that they need to be on our Clear Creek County alert system. So not only do we need to have their information, but they need to enroll in our alert system. A lot of you guys saw in my email that I had a link to our alert system. And I know that because I saw that like 50 people signed up yesterday. So thank you. Please sign up in our alert system if you haven't, and make sure that your responsible agent does. That is a requirement. That part is not negotiable, but everyone should do it. We send awesome information and text blasts and email blasts and things like that. Some of you knew about this because of you signed up for this. So please go ahead and make sure that they're signed up for it as well. They are required in section B. A lot of you know your neighbors. A lot of you don't. Section D states that adjacent property owners whose property boundaries are within 300 feet of the subject parcel where the STR is located, that's your house, shall be provided with written notice of who that responsible agent that's going to respond in 1 hour is. So, written notice could be a note that you handed them. It could be any way that you wrote it down and sent it to them, and you can prove to us, if we ask for it, that they had written notice of who your 24-hour contact person was. So please get in contact. It's a great opportunity. Get to know your neighbors. They might be great people. Who knows? But you do need to submit to them that written notice within 300 feet of your parcel. So a lot of you are butt up against each other. So please go ahead and start identifying that information. Our Clear Map has a lot of assessors data, which has mailing addresses if you need them. That is public information. It's on our assessor's website. If you go to our Clear Creek County website and go to our assessor's office, just go to the lookup link and you can look it up if you need that contact information. Moving on to section 6. Again, anything that's not a major change, I'm not going to go over. I'm going to let you guys read these on your own. But major changes I want you to be aware of. Section 6.2 is the application materials. And section 6.2H states what you need to supply us as proof of your primary residency if you are applying for a primary resident permit. A license. We're going from permits to license. If you would like a primary resident license, you need the following: a driver's license or Colorado state identification card for our state, for Colorado, that shows your address. Voter registration or motor vehicle registration. So this is an and. Driver's license or ID and voter registration or motor vehicle registration that shows that address, not your PO box, that address. So if your motor vehicle registration shows your PO box, then maybe use your voter registration. Your designated residence for tax purposes as shown on your tax documents, like a 1041, a W-2, some official tax document that you have that you can give us that has that address on it. It cannot be your personal invoice for Larry's plumbing services that you give out to people. It has to be an official tax document. We're going to need your relevant mailing address that we approved. So if this is an address that Google gave you and you look in our ClearMap system and your address isn't showing up, that's a red flag that you should give us a call because we want to make sure that you have the right address and you're using the right address and we have the address in our system. And we're going to need to know that you are a primary resident using that address. So please let us know if there's a discrepancy, but we're going to need to make sure that that is your only address. We may, at some point, if there's some kind of question, ask for documentation that the person that is saying they're the owner actually holds ownership of the resident in that applicant's name, that you control holding interest in the business. So if it's, Lexi's Dream Trust, that Lexi actually owns an interest in her dream trust, we may ask you for that documentation. So be prepared if your property is not in your name to provide us with that documentation if you have your property in a business name or a trust or anything like that. Everybody, this is a change for all of you. It doesn't matter if you're a primary resident, license renewer, or if you're going to be a standard license renewer, you all are going to have to give us proof of your home share insurance or your short-term rental insurance policy that shows comprehensive liability coverage for property damage. We're going to search your document for like those exact words. So please be sure that you send us the right document because we'll just send it back to you. We don't want a confirmation that you renewed your policy again this year. We want the policy that shows that you have that insurance on it. So please make sure that that is the document you're submitting us, not a letter about your renewal. Again, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to throw them in the Q&A in the bottom there, and I will review them at the end. I won't be speaking to anyone's opinions, but if you have any questions about the application process and how we're going about these requirements, please feel free to throw them in the Q&A or about big changes or anything like that and how we're handling them. The chat is disabled. I want to make sure everyone knows that. The Q&A, though, at the bottom should be available for you if you have a question. So, section 7, not a whole lot of big changes, but just want to go over a couple things for you to note, especially for your safety inspections. No more than one STR license is going to be issued for each STR. So if you've been asking about that, no. One license for short-term rental under the owner's name, the owner. That's it. Taxes, you will be responsible for demonstrating your taxes and that they've been remitted to us when you renew your license next year. So just be prepared for that. If there's any documentation Airbnb or anything sends you, just be aware. Section F, guest load shall not be greater than 2 occupants per sleeping room unless otherwise determined by the review authority. So this is that occupancy that we're going to be looking for when we do your short-term rental inspections. You all need to have 5-pound or greater 3A 40B-C fire extinguishers. This is in the International Residential Code, but generally speaking, if you have a dainty little fire extinguisher, it has to be a hefty, big, heavy-duty 5-pounder. You're not going to pass your safety inspection if it's not ready to go. So make sure you have it and it's ready and it's in there in an obvious place right away, like next to the oven, somewhere under the sink in the kitchen, somewhere obvious that someone would look for a fire extinguisher, please. On the note of fire extinguishers, any outdoor fire appliances and fire pits need to be disabled and removed. No more outdoor fire pits. It doesn't matter if there's a fire ban or not. Your guests don't understand how to find out if there's a fire ban, what it means if there's a fire ban. So no more outdoor fires. This also includes your grills. We're not doing the grills anymore. So all of that has to go for your safety inspection. This is propane or wood, charcoal, including propane. And if the grill is there and there's no propane tank, it doesn't count. The grill has to go, because that doesn't mean that your renters aren't just going to go get a propane tank. So we're done with the outdoor fire facilities. So just please, again, if that applies to you, there's very few of you that actually applies to, but if it applies to you, please look in the regulations and say, hey, is this applicable to what this says? Yes. Okay, I need to remove it. It's pretty obvious what we're talking about, you guys. We're talking about grills, we're talking about fireplaces outdoors, we're talking about fire pits, and things of that nature. This hasn't really changed, but I will say it anyway. Firearms or fireworks, believe it or not, we've had your renters do it. No, please let them know. No fireworks or anything of that nature, especially around 4th of July. It doesn't matter if they're in the mountains. Actually, it matters, I feel like, a lot that they're in the mountains. So no fireworks or firearm discharging either, no shooting in the backyard or anything of that nature. It doesn't matter where you're located, we're not allowing it. So some other big changes, we are going to require everyone to have a guest guidebook in your property. A great place to put a guest guidebook is on the coffee table. Things to put in a guest guidebook: a copy of your permit, your site plan, maybe some local attractions, some brochures, some information. We're also going to require you to state how many vehicles are allowed to be on the property and show that in your guest guidebook on your site plan. Preferably it's the site plan that we approve. Please don't make modifications to it after we approve it. There is a list here. It's pretty straightforward of what you need to put in the guest guidebook, but basically map, the one that we approve, maybe the day that your garbage is getting picked up, if you have garbage pickup services available at your short-term rental. If the garbage is stored in the garage on your site plan, please note that garbage is stored in garage so that everyone knows there's no confusion. No one's putting a trash bag outside and a bear is getting into it because the owner thought that the renter knew to put it in the garage. It's happened, believe it or not. So please, all of this has to be super, super laid out. There should be information about where the fire extinguisher is. If you put it under the kitchen sink, put in the guidebook that there's a fire extinguisher under the kitchen sink and next to your indoor, I don't know, fireplace. I don't know. Please put that information though. Where are all of the fire extinguishers, fire suppression items that you have, whatever those look like, the blanket, whatever you have, please put that in your guest guidebook. How do you get out of your house? How do you get out of your development? Is there only one escape route? Where is that escape route if there is a fire? That should be in your guest guidebook. A lot of your guests are not from Colorado. They don't understand these concepts. A lot of you live in areas that are affected by this. Spencer, I see your hand raised over here if I'm clicking out. If you want to throw your question in the Q&A, you should be able to. There you go. And I'll allow it to be anonymous as well. So if you guys have anonymous questions, thanks for bringing that to my attention, Spencer. Appreciate that. It is open. If any of you don't have your Good Neighbor guidelines already, you should have already had them from last year. Those need to be in your guest guidebook as well. Something that is new. If you are found in violation of this ordinance, or if anyone else who doesn't have a license is found in violation of this ordinance, we do have fines that we can enact. Section 8.5 does go over these fines. Hopefully we don't have to apply them to anybody, but if we do, we can apply fines. There's different increments of fines depending on what the violation is. In most cases, we don't want to fine people. We like everybody. It's not a great time, but it's something to know that this is a change and I'm going over changes. So I want to make sure you all know that there is a possibility that if you're found consistently listing more occupancy and we're asking you over and over, change your occupancy. We see you set it up to 10 and we only set it for 8. Change it, change it, change it. Eventually, we're going to have to do something because you're not changing it. So please work with us. We want to work with you. No one likes a fine. Nobody. So let's just work together. We're a team here. If you need to appeal something, we have an ability for you to do that in here. That is new. You can appeal our decisions and you can go up the ladder. If you don't like a decision that is made, you can submit an appeal. It's $250 and we can make a decision based on that. The rest of this is pretty straightforward. We've been over all of it before. Licensing fees is on the new short-term rental fee schedule. And if your permit does not expire at the end of this year, you do not have to renew until next year under section 10.1. If you applied on MuniRevs and paid money on MuniRevs, that does not mean that you renewed your permit. That just means that you prepaid a little bit of money on MuniRevs a while ago. You still have to renew on our new system and you still have to pay your application fee, which is your registration fee, and your document review fee, which is $700, and we'll give you a credit. That's section 10.1 of this new ordinance. So if anyone's confused, that is what that's referencing. It is not referencing if you pay it on Muni Revs to renew your permit for next year. This was adopted yesterday. If you have not had a chance to look at it, again, I'm just going to keep stressing it. Please read it over. And then if you have any comments or concerns, throw them in the Q&A. I see 9 of them right now. I'm going to take just a 1-minute break right here. Honestly, I need to get some water for my throat, and then I'm going to answer these questions. So just give me 1 moment. Feel free to take a break or go get a soda or something if you need. Okay, it's been a minute or two, so I hope everyone has had an opportunity to grab a soda, put some of your questions in the Q&A. I see a whole bunch of them coming in, and these are awesome questions that I definitely want to dive into. So keep them coming. Okay, I'm going to get right into the grill situation. So I have on here with me our building official, David Danielson. He is our chief building official. He is the one who is in charge of our building department and therefore all of our building inspectors and building safety inspections that you have to go through every single time that you renew. We want to make sure that you have everything that you need. And so he can also speak to some of these questions as well. He may chime in. Are you there, David?
Yes, I am here. Cannot start my video. Sorry, guys. That's all right. I don't need to be on the video. But so there was just one thing I wanted to clarify with the fire extinguishers. Those need to be mounted in a conspicuous place. Those are going to need to be available, mounted to a wall in the kitchen or adjacent to a fireplace. So that won't be underneath the kitchen sink. We were going to touch base on a grill, correct? Was that the first question here?
Yeah, can we have an electric grill is the first question.
An electric grill would be allowed as long as it's not burning a flame.
Um, yeah, thanks, Spencer, about the Q&A. I appreciate that. The changes were not voted on by the public. Yeah, changes are not voted on by the public. The Board of County Commissioners are the ones who vote on any kind of changes to ordinances and regulations. That's correct. And that would be why they're not voted on by the public. Um, the fee schedule says reimbursement of any expense incurred in defense of any lawsuits or other action brought against the county as a result of an owner's occupation. What does that mean? Let me find that section in here. And David may find it before I do.
Yes. All right. So they were inquiring about the fees and about the reimbursement for an appeal.
For legal defense, yeah.
Yes. So any expenses that are incurred by the county, we would be reimbursable to us. So after the fact, it could be more than the $200 or the $400 that is shown on the fee schedule, if that includes 10 hours of staff time, fringe benefits, et cetera, for those employees that could be due for that appeal. I see a question in here, section D, written notice within 300 feet. Is this 300 feet of the property line or the house? That is within 300 feet of the property line.
I want to make sure to bring to everyone's attention that the Good Neighbor guidelines may have been updated since the last time you referenced them. They've been updated recently, and we need to see the most recent copy of those Good Neighbor guidelines in your guidebook. I am working with the tourism office to get a guidebook template for everyone that hopefully has some information that you can just print and put in your guidebooks on that note. So stay tuned for that. There will be links to that on our webpage. Oh, I see someone up here. Yes, if you applied and on the application, you are able to edit the owner field, please reapply. That is not, you're not supposed to be able to edit that. That pulls directly from our assessor's database and should be disabled. So
I
yeah,
see a question regarding property has 2 units and 1 address. Do we need 2 licenses? No, you would not need 2 licenses in that case, assuming one of those is an accessory dwelling units to the primary residence on that parcel of land. The additional fees, the document review fee and the registration fees, that's to compensate the employee staff time that it takes to review the documents and make sure that everything in the STR license is in order. Obviously, we have a lot of additional requirements that we're going through and checking now.
communities that were compared to fee schedule. I see a couple people backing this one up. Yeah, absolutely. So every single BOCC meeting is recorded, and there were actually multiple BOCC meetings in which the commissioners took this stuff into consideration. If you go to our website and you go to agendas and meetings, one of them was on November 17th, I believe. One of them was on the one that was adopted yesterday was December 19th. There were quite a few earlier in the year, and back in the spring, a couple in the summer as well. Please go to our forum guideline that has the timeline, and it kind of outlines when we did all of that research and when the Board of County Commissioners took that into consideration.
I see a couple questions regarding which communities we were compared to for our fees. We are attempting to operate on a cost recovery method. So we've set our fees in such a way that we believe we will recuperate the cost of staff time. And yeah.
Indoor safe propane heater. Is that allowed during power outages? I'm assuming that's like a buddy heater. I mean, if the power is out, we're not going to hold it against your renter for not being cold, but specific.
If it's a listed appliance that's specifically used for indoor and meeting all of the listing requirements, that will be allowed indoors. Um, I'm not sure that I know of any specific propane heaters that are listed that way. I may know of one or two diesels that have been. Um, be very careful going down that road.
Would you consider providing templates for each of the required documents that need to be in the guest book? Yeah, so the Good Neighbor guidelines are just available with a quick Google. Those are not specific to Clear Creek County. Those are, you can find those in a lot of places, but make sure that they're the most recent copy. The best place to get it is directly from the source, always. So if you just type it in Google, it should be one of the first links that pops up. Your site plan will be the one that we approve, should be the one that's in your guest guidebook. You should also have kind of an escape route that we can't exactly provide templates of. We will want you to have a copy of the permit in your guest guidebook, and that will be provided to you as soon as you pay. That'll automatically be in your portal, and you can access it at any time. There will be a QR code on your permit that your guests can take their phone and scan it, and it'll pull up more information regarding it, and things of that nature. I am working with the Tourism Bureau on getting some materials, like a little PDF that you can print that has a whole bunch of pages that you could just pop in there. Hopefully with some maybe discounts or something with local attractions to get your guests to come to Idaho Springs and Georgetown and things like that and see the main streets. And that should be coming soon. Please sign up for your public alerts, and we'll make sure that as soon as we have it ready to go and it's on our website, we'll let everyone know. If I'm the homeowner and I only have access to the garage, can I keep a gas grill for my personal use? No. Because what if you give the key to someone else? We can't. Or what if they break the door? We can't. Sorry. If it's a short-term rental property, no gas grill. What other county services require citizens to pay for county staff time, car license, zoning, building permits, courts?
I cannot speak to car licenses or zoning, but I do know that the building permit fee schedule has also been updated to operate on a cost recovery method. This is not to be overly burdensome to the taxpayers who are not benefiting from these types of programs.
The wait lists for absentee licenses. You will apply for your license, pay the fee, and that ensures that you're on the waiting list and you have everything ready to go so that if it is your turn, all you have to do is get your building inspection, and then you'll pay for the inspection and the license once you obtain that. If you ever want to be pulled off of the waiting list, then we can refund you. Please don't just willy-nilly join the waiting list and then ask me 2 weeks later to be pulled off, but we can do that for you if you need. The waiting list, if anyone is wondering, is at about 17 people. The person that is first on the waiting list has been on there since August of 2023. We are, yeah.
Any outdoor lights that are listed and rated for exterior use would be allowed.
What about primary resident permits and having a grill for owner use? Not if you're renting it out. When will you be able to, oh, there's one above there. When will you be able to address the glitches regarding entering your first name? Did you apply recently? I'm not seeing that glitch and I'm seeing it disabled. I will go through though, and I will make sure that that's not still a glitch. If you started your application earlier today, you may have to start a new application if yours is showing that glitch though. I can't remove the glitch out of your existing application, but if you start a new one, it should not
Are,
be there.
are there any plans to change the limit of 4.5%? No, there are not currently any plans to change that limit. With this new ordinance, we can reevaluate that. I believe we can add one standard STR license at this time.
Step-by-step instructions. You know what? This will be a great opportunity. Sure, absolutely. I would love to. And then we can all see together about this glitch. And I can see if it is still glitching, because that would not be great. Because I believe you guys, don't get me wrong. I believe that it's glitching. Um, but if you started your application earlier today, it would. If you've started it later, we've been testing it for about the past 5 or 6 hours. And on our side, we haven't been experiencing it. So, but yes, absolutely. Let me pull up our short-term rental website. And also regarding this glitch, while I pull up, I'm actually going to start from our regular homepage. But actually, while I talk about this too, for the record, you have until January 31st to apply. And if you all apply today or tomorrow, we're not going to be able to review all of your applications right away anyway. So you're not going to benefit if you all try to apply at the same time. I understand a lot of you want to get it out of the way, and I get that. But just so you know, I'm setting expectations that there are a lot of you. So, okay, here is clearcreekcounty.us. Let me share this. So we're on our website right here. As everyone can see, this is Clear Creek County's website. There are tons of ways to get to our permitting platform. You can go directly through the link that you got in your email. You can go to our permits page and hit the big red button. You can Google short-term rental application, Clear Creek County, and it'll probably show up. You could go to the building department and click the red button. There will be a link on the short-term rental webpage. This is the main page. This is clearcreekcounty.govbuilt.com. This is the link that you all got in your email. This is the county's new central permitting platform. You all have to create an account. As you can tell, I already have my account signed in. You'll be prompted to create an account if you haven't created one on here yet. Your account from Unirevs, your account from clearcreekcounty.us is not the same as this. This is a whole new system that you need to apply for. You'll hit apply for license and you'll see all of these different licenses available. And you'll scroll down to short-term rentals. Renewals accepted December 18th to January 31st. And you'll click fill out the form. You can search by your address, by owner name or parcel number. I'm going to use one of the county-owned properties here. This is searching our county Esri database. This is not Google or anything, so it needs to be the address that we assigned you. And it's gathering a lot of information for us on the back end. So if you do something like type Clear Creek as the owner, like I did, looking for all of these different properties, it's going to take a second, just like it did. Be patient. So I'm going to use Veterans Memorial Court. I'll hit fill. It's going to automatically fill the parcel address and parcel number. This is where I'm saying it should have automatically filled your owner information. We're going to all go into this together, moment of truth, and see if it's fixed or it's glitched. That rhymed. It auto-filled. Woohoo! So you should be good to go. Shouldn't have to do anything. Just let it go, because that's the owner name. It should match what our records say, and that pulled from our records. So notice how I didn't do anything? Don't do anything. It's from our records. So it should be okay. If yours doesn't do this, start a new one. Start over. Maybe try a different browser. This is Google Chrome. I don't know. I feel like that's everyone's scapegoat. Try a different browser. But it should autofill. And then it should also autofill your address and your parcel number. If you need to type in a unit number, you can. Some of you may have that kind of situation. You're going to enter how many bedrooms you want to advertise. So if I have a 5-bedroom house, I'll type 5. The number of occupants you want to advertise. So if I want to advertise 10 because it's 5 bedrooms, I'm going to type 10 and it's going to say great. It's going to also give you some other information in here about which sections of our new ordinance these restrictions fall under. So if you do need to reference stuff like that. And then it's going to ask you for your license type. Again, here's another reference for section 3.1. You're going to select if you're a primary resident or if you're standard. And then if you're going to be occupying your house or if you're going to snowbird down in Florida. So if I say I'm going to snowbird down in Florida, it's going to ask me some other information. First off, it's going to tell me per section 6.2H, you have to give me all these documents. That's in this ordinance that was adopted, that you need to supply these documents to us. And we're going to have these on record. So you'll select what kind of registration you're going to submit. Is it your voter or your motor vehicle? Remember, if it's a PO box, it doesn't count. It needs to be the address that you want the short-term rental permit to be at. So I'm going to say voter registration because maybe my motor vehicle is a PO box. And then I'm going to go ahead and upload my documents here. I can go in and say, I affirm that I'm a primary resident of Clear Creek County. This is also a requirement of this ordinance. It is in here and adopted that you have to state this. So you do have to check this box. And then it also gives me some information like, hey, just so I know, I can't rent this more than 120 days in a license period, which is 1 year. I can go back up and I can go through all of these different tabs and start putting information that I have. Maybe I don't have those files yet, but I just want to start my application, see what I need to gather over the holidays, whatever. So I say, okay, I'm going to come back to this, and this when I get a copy of it. What else do I need? Site plan and insurance. Okay. I need to upload my insurance policy here. Good to know. And my site plan. These are the things that are on my site plan. Oh, if I have a cooking facility, I need to make, and it's there, I need to show that this disabled fire pit is a disabled fire pit. We don't want to show up to your property and be like, why do you have a fire pit? And then you have to be like, oh, it's disabled. Look at how I tore apart all the bricks and it's actually just a plot in the dirt. So this is specifically written in our ordinance that if you have any kind of outdoor fire facility, you need to show us, even if it's disabled, you need to put it on the site plan. We'd prefer you don't have it at all. Disabling is not taking the propane tank away from the grill. No grills. It can't be there. When we say disabled outdoor thing, we're talking about people who had a fire pit or something, some kind of structure, and the bricks are all laid out now because it's no longer something like that. We want to know that. So if you're confused about that, let us know. We want to know your snow storage area. The culvert in front of your house is not a snow storage area. You cannot use the culvert in front of your house. It needs to be on your property. We want to see your garbage storage area. If you don't have a garbage storage area outside, note that on your site plan that you're storing garbage indoors, so that if we see garbage sitting outside, we can reference your site plan and be like, what is going on? No garbage should be outside. Where should their garbage be stored? Please note that. Back to this pesky owner information tab. You can enter your phone number in here. You can enter a test email in here. Not a test email. You can enter your email. I'm entering a test email. Your mailing address, this auto-populates from our assessor's records. Please don't change it unless it's actually incorrect, but this should be the owner's mailing address that our assessor's office is also mailing things to. So if it is incorrect, please contact the assessor's office and say, hey, this is not the right address. Can you please update this? Because that's where this is coming from. So if you're curious how we got your PO box, that's where it comes from. This is where you're going to answer those questions about if you, as the applicant, maybe you're the property manager, are applying on behalf of the owner or not. So, am I the owner of this property? No, I don't own this property. Clear Creek County does. I'm just a representative. So I would say no. Cool. Is this property in a person's name, in a trust, in an LLC, or other? Other, I think. Cool. It's telling me I need a landowner authorization. What's that? Please click here to fill, download, and notarize the landowner authorization. Okay. Click here. Oh, cool. It's a link to this form. I don't have a chance to fill it out right now, so I'm going to go up here and bookmark it and come back to it later. Or maybe you're going to print it out right now and you're going to take it to the bank and have it notarized later today when you make your deposit. Maybe you're going to download it to your computer and fill it out on your laptop. I don't care how you get this filled out, but get it filled out and notarize it. Down here is where the notary stamps it, right where it says seal. They stamp it. Your notary should understand how to fill this out. This is a pretty common notary thing. You don't fill this out. See how it says stop, wait to fill it out with the notary? That means you stop filling it out and wait for the notary. You can fill out up here, but you have to stop when you get to the line. This is saying, I, Lexi Berger, owner or representative of Clear Creek County, other, have appointed the following individual to make these changes. Well, if I'm applying on behalf of Clear Creek County, I can put that I'm Clear Creek County because I'm saying I have permission on behalf of the county to fill this out. Do you see how that works? But you're going to have to fill this out with a notary present. Now, if this property is under Tom and Lisa's name and you're their property manager, you're still not the owner of the property. You still have to fill this out. So what does that look like? I, Joey, owner or representative of, you get the gist. You got to fill it out applicable to who's filling it out. Okay, if you guys have a lot of issues with this, let us know. Your notary should be able to fill this out for you. But basically, you're saying that the person who's the owner or representative of whatever the trust is, or whoever is the property owner, if they're the owner or representative of the property, of the trust, whatever, that you're allowed to apply on their behalf. So it looks different if the property is under an LLC versus if it's under someone's name and you're applying on behalf of that person's name. You do have to get this notarized. The easiest way to do this is just wait till you get to the notary. Just wait and then fill it out at the notary because they'll make sure you fill everything out right. So just wait, fill it out at the notary and explain to them what it's for, and they'll guide you through this if you're confused about it. Okay, but it's pretty straightforward. And then you would check the other box because this is for short-term rentals. This form is required by our attorney's office. So that is where this comes from and why you have to fill it out. Everyone has to fill this out. It's not specific to short-term rentals or anything of that nature. But you want to make sure that the person who's showing up to the notary is saying that they, as the owner or representative of whatever that LLC is, are authorizing you as the applicant to apply for a short-term rental permit. So that is what that form is. If it applies to you, and again, you'll know if it applies to you by when you check these boxes. So just fill it out and it'll populate if you're supposed to fill it out or not. If it doesn't populate, you don't have to worry about it. We're going to ask you for your responsible agent information. If it's a company, you can enter the company name, but we'll just ask generic information. You're going to have to attest to a couple things here about your emergency contact that are in this ordinance. And then here's where that $700 is. And you're going to go ahead and add it to cart. Now, say I still have those documents that I needed to get, and I'm not ready to submit this yet, I can go down here and save it as a draft and come back to it later. So if you want to start filling it out, but you have to come back to upload documents, that's totally fine. Just hit save as draft on your application. We have gotten quite a few of you in so far. So there should hopefully not be any glitches or anything, because it looks like a lot of you are getting through with flying colors and no issues. But if you are someone who's still having issues or anything, I am going to check the Q&A. There's a glitch in submitting a new license, cannot add first name. First name for the primary, I wonder if that's old. First name for your owner? Perhaps? Let me see. Maybe you guys are trying to change the owner name information. Let me just do a quick screen share just so that everyone can see me and we're all on the same page right here. I just want to make sure that I take care of this whole glitch thing once and for all. So one more screen share for you guys. Okay. So this is that same Clear Creek page. I didn't change anything. I'm on the same page. I didn't do anything. Here's where it said clear and it auto-populated. I was able to delete and type my name in. It seems to be working on my end. Yeah, like I said, if yours isn't working, all I can say is like ditch your application and just start a new one. Because I can't even replicate the glitch. I'm so sorry, you guys. Or try another browser, or maybe send us an email if you don't want to retry just yet with some screenshots, and maybe we can help you out. We're available. We'll be available all day tomorrow to answer your phone calls. We can Zoom, screen share with you, and help you through it if you need. We can take your screenshots and look at them. If we are applying for a new permit, do we need short-term insurance prior to being granted a new license? What if it takes a year to get A license. Oh, you're asking like if you want to be on the waiting list. If you want to be on the waiting list, talk to us and give us a call and we'll work with you about that because you may be on the waiting list more than a year. And so we want to make sure that we can work with you about that. What are the requirements for the primary resident ADU? Would a studio over my garage count as an ADU? A studio apartment or like I'm assuming a studio apartment. Let me see if David Danielson can speak to that.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give that the classic "that depends" answer. We'll have to go out there and evaluate that studio above your garage. And if it has the appropriate infrastructure in place, we can count that as a rentable place for the STR ordinance.
Thank you. When will new permits be awarded to the wait list? Some new permits should be added due to the increase of homes, maybe. Yeah, absolutely. So every year on October 1st, we go and take all of the amount of homes that have been issued a certificate of occupancy, and we go ahead and take 4.5% of that number. And if it puts us over our currently permanent number, then we may add one. Last year, and from October of 2023 up until the 1st of October of 2024, we did not have enough COs to award another license. Can we expect a few to open up right away in 2025? Yeah, because we are no longer allowing permits to transfer when the home sells. So there may be an opportunity that permits do become available and start to turn over a little bit more. And that is definitely a goal of the permits not being able to transfer anymore with home ownership. So absolutely. Oh yeah, and I see David, one for 2025. Yeah, perfect. Waitlist and home sharing again. Yep, you just talk to us about the wait list if you're trying to get on the wait list about the home sharing insurance. How will, oh, if previously paid 500 through Muni and now 700 through GovBill, how will the 500 be applied to the new system and permit? Absolutely. So you will be paying your $700 when you apply. That covers your registration fee, which is $500, and your document review fee, which is $200. Your $500 will be applied to your license because your $500 was to renew your license. It was a license fee. So that will be credited to your license fee, which we will calculate after your short-term rental safety inspection has been completed. And then you'll be good to go. So everyone has to pay your $700 when you renew. Safari is having issues. Thanks for letting me know. I will definitely look into that. Try clearing your cache if you're having issues with your first name. Good idea. Great. Okay. I don't see any other inquiries. We are coming up on an hour and a half. So Dakota and David, they have their information. It's posted online. You have my information. Please send us more questions. If it's specific stuff about building safety, building inspections, and things of that nature, please reach out to David directly. He is handling all of that, and he can answer all of those questions. Questions about the process and the fees, you can reach out to David about if you're still confused about us recouping our fees or anything like that. He won't be speaking to any of your opinions, but if you do have any other questions about that or questions about the building code, send them over to David. Remember, your fire extinguisher needs to be in an obvious place, so not under your kitchen sink. That's not obvious enough. And Dakota will be also available if you have any issues with applying or online. I'll be available, and Reed Elmquist will be available tomorrow. We can share screen with you if you need. We all have Teams and Zoom if you need, and we can help you through the process. This is not intended to be difficult. This application is intended to meet the minimum requirements that have been set forth in this ordinance. So these are the minimum things that we need to be able to collect from you. And so we are trying to make this as painless as possible. And I'm so sorry for any of you who are experiencing this glitch. Please, again, if you have issues, let us know. This will be posted on our short-term rental webpage, as well as the application after this. So if you need to send it to someone or reference it, please do that here. And all of the meetings leading up to the approval of this ordinance are available on clearcreekcounty.us. So go there if you want to know what the discussion looked like surrounding the approval and the voting on these ordinances and the fee schedule. So thank you all, and happy holidays to everyone. And we will see you out there, and we'll look for your applications. Have a great night.